Welcome back to Naveen TechHub. In this video, we are going to understand NGINX versus Apache, starting completely from the basics, and gradually moving toward real production architecture. If web servers, reverse proxies, load balancers, Docker, or Kubernetes sound confusing right now, don't worry. We'll connect everything step by step. By the end, you should clearly understand not only what Apache and NGINX are, but also when I would choose one over the other in a real application architecture. Here is our roadmap. First, we'll understand what a web server actually does. Then, we'll compare the internal architecture of Apache and NGINX. After that, we'll look at configuration, deployment, reverse proxy, load balancing, SSL termination, performance optimization, Docker, and Kubernetes. Finally, we'll create a practical decision matrix. So think of this video as a journey from browser request all the way to production infrastructure. Before comparing NGINX and Apache, we need one fundamental concept. What exactly is a web server? Imagine I open a website from my browser. The browser sends an HTTP request through the internet. A web server receives that request and decides what should happen next. For a static HTML file, it may respond directly. For an application request, it may forward the request to something like a Python, Java, Node.js, or .NET backend. So a simple mental model is: browser sends request, web server receives it, application processes it, response returns to the browser. Now, let's quickly separate HTTP from HTTPS. HTTP commonly uses port 80 and by itself does not encrypt the communication. HTTPS commonly uses port 443 and adds TLS encryption. In production, HTTPS is no longer optional. Login credentials, API tokens, customer information, and application traffic should be protected while traveling across the network. Later in this video, we'll see why NGINX is frequently positioned at the front of an application to handle this HTTPS traffic. Let's first meet Apache HTTP Server, commonly called Apache HTTPD. Apache has been around since the mid-1990s and became extremely popular with traditional shared hosting and the classic LAMP stack. One of Apache's strengths is its modular architecture. You can enable different modules depending on your application requirements. Another important feature is .ht access, which allows configuration at the directory level. That flexibility is one reason Apache became extremely popular for applications such as traditional PHP and WordPress hosting. Now meet NGINX, pronounced NGINX. NGINX was designed with a very different goal: efficiently handling a very large number of concurrent connections. Instead of creating a dedicated thread or process for every connection, NGINX uses an event-driven asynchronous architecture. That difference becomes extremely important when thousands of clients are connecting simultaneously. And today, NGINX is much more than a basic web server. We commonly use it as a reverse proxy, load balancer, SSL termination layer, API gateway component, and Kubernetes Ingress controller. Now we reach the most important architectural difference. Apache traditionally follows a process or thread-oriented model. Imagine multiple customers entering a service desk, and each customer requiring their own worker. As the number of requests grows, Apache may need additional workers, processes, or threads. This approach works very well for many traditional workloads, but with extremely high concurrency, those workers can consume more memory. Keep this picture in mind, because the next slide shows why NGINX behaves differently. NGINX approaches the same problem differently. Instead of assigning one dedicated worker to every client connection, a small number of workers can manage many connections using an event loop. I like to think of this as one efficient coordinator handling many requests and acting only when a particular connection needs attention. This asynchronous, non-blocking architecture is one major reason NGINX performs very well when we have large numbers of concurrent connections. This concept is also a very useful DevOps and system design interview topic. Now the comparison becomes much clearer. Apache is traditionally associated with a thread or process-based model, while NGINX uses an asynchronous event-driven model. Apache configuration can also be decentralized using .htaccess. NGINX normally keeps configuration centralized. For dynamic application execution, Apache can integrate more directly with application modules, while NGINX commonly forwards dynamic requests to external application runtimes, such as PHP-FPM, Python, Java, or Node.js. Neither design is universally better. The correct choice depends on the workload. This slide shows why architecture matters. As concurrent connections increase, an event-driven architecture can generally maintain a smaller memory footprint compared with creating many independent workers. NGINX is also particularly strong at serving static files and handling large numbers of simultaneous connections. But remember, benchmarks should never be interpreted blindly. In production, performance depends on application code, database latency, caching, network configuration, hardware, and workload characteristics. Architecture gives us the direction. Actual testing gives us the answer. Their configuration syntaxes differ as well. Apache uses an XML-style format for virtual hosts, while NGINX utilizes a C-style syntax. Both serve the same primary goal of mapping domain names to local directories. Let's turn the concept into something practical. To host a basic static website, we first create an index.html file. Then place that file in the web server's document directory, configure or start the service, and access the machine using its public IP or domain name. Conceptually, create content, place it in the web root, start the server, send an HTTP request. This is the simplest possible web server deployment, and everything we build later is essentially an extension of this flow. One of NGINX's greatest strengths is its role as a reverse proxy. By sitting at the edge of your network, it intercepts traffic and forwards requests to hidden internal applications, which significantly improves your server's security architecture. Now imagine one backend server is no longer enough. We can run multiple instances of the application and let NGINX distribute incoming requests across them. That is load balancing. For example, a Python Fast API application might run across several Docker containers or virtual machines. NGINX sits in front and distributes traffic using algorithms such as round robin or least connections. This improves scalability and availability. This same architectural pattern appears repeatedly in AWS, Azure, Kubernetes, and enterprise microservice environments. Another common production pattern is SSL or TLS termination. Instead of every backend application handling certificates independently, NGINX can handle HTTPS at the edge. The client communicates securely with NGINX. NGINX decrypts the request and then forwards traffic according to our internal architecture. Certificates can also be automated using tools such as Let's Encrypt and CertBot. This centralizes certificate management and reduces complexity for backend applications. Once the application is working, the next question is, how do we optimize it? NGINX provides several useful mechanisms. Caching can avoid repeating expensive backend calls. Compression can reduce the amount of data transferred. Sendfile can improve static file delivery. Keep Alive avoids unnecessarily reopening connections. And HTTP2 improves how multiple requests use the connection. The important production lesson is this. Optimization should remove unnecessary work, rather than simply adding more servers. Now we connect NGINX with modern DevOps applications. NGINX runs very naturally inside Docker containers. For example, imagine I have a Node.js backend, Postgres database, and NGINX container. Users do not need direct access to the Node.js service or database. NGINX can act as the front-facing gateway and forward only the required requests. This gives us cleaner network boundaries and makes local development, testing, CI/CD, and production deployments much easier to standardize. When we move from Docker into Kubernetes, this concept becomes even more important. Inside Kubernetes, applications may have many pods, but we normally don't want to expose every pod directly to the internet. An Ingress controller, such as NGINX Ingress, receives external traffic and routes it to the appropriate Kubernetes services. For example, /API can route to backend microservices, while /web routes to front-end workloads. So the reverse proxy concept we learned earlier scales naturally into Kubernetes architecture. So which one should you choose? Apache can still be an excellent choice for traditional PHP applications, WordPress environments, shared hosting, or workloads that depend heavily on .htaccess. NGINX is particularly attractive for high-traffic applications, reverse proxies, load balancing, APIs, Docker, Kubernetes, and microservice architectures. In many enterprise environments, it is also possible to use both. The architectural decision should always come from application requirements, rather than choosing a technology simply because it is popular. Before going to production, there are several things I always want engineers to think about. Start with security. Hide unnecessary server information, restrict access, and protect sensitive endpoints. Then monitoring. Track health and performance. Logging is essential for troubleshooting. Use caching where it makes sense. Design for high availability using multiple instances, and version control your configuration. In real DevOps environments, the web server configuration should be treated like application code. Reviewed, tested, automated, and monitored. Let's summarize everything. We started with Linux and basic web server concepts. Then we compared Apache and NGINX architecture. From there, we moved into NGINX configuration, reverse proxy, load balancing, SSL termination, Docker, and finally, Kubernetes. The main idea I want you to remember is this. NGINX is not simply a tool for serving HTML files. It is an important building block in modern event-driven web infrastructure. If this explanation helped you understand NGINX versus Apache, subscribe to Naveen TechHub for more practical tutorials on DevOps, AWS, Azure, Docker, Kubernetes, Python, data engineering, AI, and production system design. Keep learning, keep building, and I'll see you in the next video.